Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the encouragement of the day. I hope you all are rested and all refreshed. I am. I got lots of rest this weekend. The feeling of just not feeling like you have to go is, I think, what many of us need right now. And so that is the type of rest that I just got this weekend. Not rushing out of bed, not going to and from, just really laying low. And so I am ready for the week, to say the least. It's been a really good weekend. Let's see what the encouragement of the day is. We're going to take a look at our Oracle deck, looking into the chakras. Okay, welcome. Make sure you like, share, comment if you feel led. Go ahead and subscribe if you have not. And this is like what you're looking for when it comes to browsing. Let's take a look. Also, welcome to Blood Moon Oracle. Let's see, Spirit, what are you saying today? What do you have for encouragement for us today? Please and thank you. All right, let's see. For the encouragement today, Ooh. Chakra. Sacral chakra energy coming out strong today. Yep. Sacral chakra energy coming out strong today. So we have fertility, Aphrodite goddess, Dawn, coming out with sexuality, and then rooted energy. Ooh, today may be a day where there are lots of emotions flying, lots of passions flowing within. I do feel this is a time to become attuned to being grounded first and foremost, and then looking at the fertile ground within us, like that inner part of us where all creation lies. That's really the energy that Aphrodite is bringing. It's very stable, very creative. It's goddess energy. It is empress energy as well. And as you can see, we have the yin yang, the two fishes here, Pisces energy. And then we also have the lotus flower right there in her sacral chakra. And when we take a look at the lotus flower, it's very meaningful. The lotus itself is not a flower that just blooms, but it actually has to fight through a lot to bloom. First of all, a lotus flower grows on the bottom of the water, on the bottom of a pond. And then it has to push, first of all, through the dirt, right? And then once it pushes through the dirt, then it grows up through this very murky, dirty water, right? Until it reaches the top of the water, and then it blooms, right? And so it has to fight through a lot to actually reach its point of bloom, right? And so this could be talking about finally coming to a place where you're able to see and feel and actually express what it is that's always been there. It's been like a seed waiting to actually burst open and grow. This could also talk about difficulties that has been faced to come to this point of finally being able to express and create. But it's pointing to the energy that lies within us, right? No matter the difficulty, which we've all had many on different levels, right? Especially as it pertains to our creativity. It may have a lot to do with that sacral chakra energy. I don't feel like it's a coincidence that sexuality came out. It could have a lot to do with healing around our sexuality, overcoming difficulties, or it could even deal with trauma, that we have faced to come to this point. But it's talking about the emotions, the purity of what was meant, even though there could have been things that kind of came in to try to distort what that purpose was, right? It's coming back around. The dawn is talking about the balancing, right? As we look at the two, the yin and the yang, balancing the masculine and feminine energies within us. We're receiving that right now today. And dawn is talking about the coming out, the coming out, either sunrises or sundowns. I believe it's the sunrise, the coming out. And I can't undervalue the amount of sacral chakra energy that we're seeing here. Like, it's on fire. It's on fire. This is a beautiful time. I feel like Spirit is pointing to where there is availability of healing energy coming in. There could be a lot of healing around past traumas and maybe shadows coming back up right now. It's coming up not to continue this traumatic experience, but it's coming up possibly for someone to have an opportunity to heal it, to see that this is supposed to be something that's beautiful, right? Many times because of the experience and other people's perception, and they come in and they distort that. But essentially, all of these things within us are purposeful, and it's beautiful. I hear Spirit saying that this is a beautiful thing that lies within us. It's not to be looked at as evil or something nasty, right? Or something to hide or run away from, but it is the very natural essence of our creativity. Literally, especially as we talk about a woman, a man too, it lies in that area where creativity flows from us, and spiritually, emotionally, and so this could definitely be a beautiful time of acknowledging those emotions and the healing that's coming in through those emotions, whatever that could be right now. It's not something to push down and shove down and move away from, but it's something to allow to process and to flow through, right? All of the energies are available for this flow. Now, the tree, that actually brings in the energy of being grounded through this process and finding harmony by being grounded, by understanding the need to plant our roots deep within the earth. And so this is grounding energy, right? That goes with all of our balancing within our chakra start at the root. So no matter what area of the root, the chakra system we're talking about, it always goes back to the root. The root is the beginning, and that's where the foundation starts. And so it always leads back to the root and the necessity for the root to be balanced and harmonious. And so there may be a need to just make sure that we are definitely grounded within our bodies, feeling what it feels like to be within our bodies, and also grounded in who we are, right? Grounded in the knowledge of self and what all that entails. It not only is me, but it's also my mother and my mother's mother and her mother, right? It's understanding who I am and all that have brought me forward, all that has happened up until this point. I can't help but see this picture, but also seeing the root, right? There's like a figure hidden in the tree. You see that? So it does talk about ancestry. the family tree, the bloodline. There's some roots here, possibly that need to be addressed as well. And it's understanding that what lies beneath the surface, because really a tree is just a two-part reflection of itself, right? Whatever you see on the top of the soil is a reflection of what's beneath the soil. It's almost like a mirror of two different realities, right? It's what's beneath the soil that goes deep within the roots. Like the bigger the tree, understand the same amount of soil and roots go deep down within the earth. It's a reflection of itself. And so what we see right now really is a reflection of what's underneath, what's happening underneath the surface. So there's a need to dig into that and to understand that today. Spirit is pointing to that today. And so let's take a look, and we're going to look at, we're going to pull out our Chakra Tarot and see the rest of the encouragement. I do feel like Spirit is saying to be encouraged, right? Even those things that you don't understand, I feel like it's maybe coming up today. It may be being revealed right now in this time for you to understand. Especially it's like, well, where did that come from? Like, why, did I end up going that way? Or, gravitating towards this particular thing, right? There's some level of connection to the roots. It didn't just sprout up, right? It came from somewhere. And so I do really feel like we're talking about healing today. We're talking about the abundance of creativity. And possibly that healing is something that's going to lead to the flow of that creativity that's been waiting to birth. Just like that flower. It's been pushing up through the darkness, right? So that it could finally blossom. We could be talking about healing happening in that way. There's a level of expression, a level of creativity that was always meant to be birthed through you. But it's through this healing that's going to happen. And for those that have already processed that, you may understand like the healing and how it correlates to that liberation of creativity. But let's take a look and see what the tarot brings out for us. So what is the encouragement for today, Spirit, please? And thank you. And I have to really just be transparent here right now. There is a level of, taking what's beautiful and what's meant to be good and kind of turning it into something diluted, or is that the right word? Turning it into something shameful at a very early age. Many times we have experiences at a young age when it comes to our sexuality that spoils the purity of it. And it is something that happens way too often, right? I've been someone who's talked to my kids like from a very young age, and I have showed videos, we've had talks, even though they weren't able to understand it, we talked about it. We talked about it, and because I wanted them to understand that they're, the importance and the sacredness of their body, and not seeing that as something derogatory or something bad or something to shy away from or hide from, in hopes that they would understand like who they are, part of who they are. And I think far too often, many times, because we shy away from those subjects, there's not the understanding of that, which causes it to fall into the hands of situations that end up giving us this perspective around our sacredness that may be just a little bit delusional or skewed, right? And so it's almost like this could be something that happened very early that probably should not have, but it did. But nevertheless, there's the healing of that and coming back around to the purity of it. And it could be something that just has laid in the back of our minds, unchallenged, unchecked, unhealed, but it's coming up now to be challenged. It's coming back up now to be challenged. Let's see. And so we have the Hermit, the Temperance, and we have the Eight of Swords. The Hermit, Temperance, and the Eight of Swords. So I almost feel like there has been possibly some isolation around you not really feeling, possibly at times or in certain situations, like you fit in, possibly because of this. I do see a lot of red coming out, a lot of passion. But let's see, for the Hermit, let's see. This Hermit card is talking about being on like a new path. Maybe you have traveled to this point in a certain mindset, right? And that mindset could be in line with like what you feel like was expected or what you've been taught, but there's some separating away from that now. There's the coming into your own way of thinking with the Hermit here. See the light she's carrying? That light represents enlightenment, tapping into her own way of thinking, receiving information and knowledge, peering into things, right, that may have been like taboo or something that was needing to steer away from or steer clear of. But this is wandering into that dark space to find light, to find understanding. And it's also the exploration of the shadow side as well, suppressed emotions. It's digging into that energy to find out what has been hidden there. And what is being found is going to be a very significant connection with this, with the heavens even, right? With that part of us that was pure and beautiful and perfect and always meant to be, right? Being guided, someone's being guided to dig a little bit deeper. And she's actually in orange. It looks like red to me, but they say it's orange. I guess it could be the sacral chakra energy. And it's an indication that there is this sacral chakra energy, which talks about the emotions, and the light, which is yellow, that's tapping into the third chakra, right? Trying to see through the true identity of who she is, of who we are, and what's needed, trying to see clearly. But in order to push forward, there's the need to find the feelings that's been suppressed and kept hidden. That's the key to this opening, right? As we're traveling up through the chakras, this is going to be the key to opening up through the heart, right? And so in essence, I feel like we're talking about the Kundalini trying to rise, right? For this very significant awakening that's happening right now. This is representative of the third chakra. And so we're looking inwardly, trying to find answers that lie within, right? And we may have been up to this point looking outside of ourselves for these answers, but we're seeking inwardly. We're being guided inwardly now. That's what the hermit is. It's reflection, studying of self, right? It's fire energy, seeking, searching, contemplation. And so we also have the temperance, which is talking about balance, the temperance. And let's see. And so we've crossed over from this very new energy of being on this new mission or guided to a new way of living or expressing and seeking within ourselves, not looking outside of ourselves, but now seeking within. And then going from this very new way of doing that or being on a new path, right? Turning a different direction, doing things a little different than what we're used to. And we've stepped over into the lesson of it, actually putting it into action, right? That's what the temperance is. But it's actually, the temperance shows up as an angel. And again, as you can see, we have the sacral chakra energy, right? And the angel represents a shadow period ending. So we're coming to an end of this period where we don't really see clearly, or we're guiding in to get some hidden information that's been tucked away or avoided. And the temperance comes after the death card. The death represents some level of major transformation, of quickening. And now we're opening up to ascension, right? The temperance guides us towards ascension. And of course, she's in angelic form. She has wings. And this is energy that flows between the emotions, the cups, calling for a mixing of all the elements. See how has the cups in her hands, and she's mixing of all the elements. And so there could be situations that appear tempting, or they appear very easy when it comes to bringing us back into those lower vibrational energies. But here we've come to a place where we might be operating like from feelings unintentionally or unconsciously, or that could be something that's coming up right now to actually bring up these lessons or to bring up these energies so that we would become aware of them. And so this talks about needing to address the foundation, right? Needing to address the foundation, going back to this tree energy, that root energy, needing to address the foundation, sometimes even going back before us, checking into energies that go back, right? And confusion may be present during this process. There may be a need that's going to point to our need to review possibly the root chakra, going back to the foundation before moving forward. Because what's coming next, right? The temperance says what's coming next is going to need firm footing, right? Because it might be a little slippery slope heading forward here. And so the temperance lets us know this is a period of time that's going to equip you for what's coming next. What's coming next requires us to know, what it is that we're headed towards. Do we have goals? What are those goals? being aimed towards something specific, I found, helps us to avoid what we don't want. If we don't know what we want, then we end up in all different kinds of places. But the more specific we can be, when we start setting goals, it helps us to stay on course. So that may be an indication possibly of getting, not only getting grounded, but becoming sure of where we're going, setting goals if we have not, and allowing the right things to come in, even if it's from unexpected places, right? It aligns and it comes in when needed. This is huge energy, okay? And so this is a time you may find yourself flowing in your power and feeling very powerful. This sacral chakra energy is not to be played with. And so this is not something to allow to go to your head. This is something that may possibly call us to share what we're going through, okay? The healing that's being processed and the growth that we're experiencing. It has a lot to do with dealing with our feelings and understand the root of where those feelings come from. Then we have the 8 of Swords. Still same energy, root chakra energy. And the 8 of Swords usually is an indication that there may be some feeling of unrooted, ungrounded, or needing that right now. There's some part of what you're experiencing that you are possibly, and it almost feels like punishing yourself for something that probably is not your fault. There's just a need for a deeper level of understanding. There's some self-infliction or self-imprisonment, right? There's both vulnerability and safety in the captivity sometimes when we self-imprison ourselves. To us, it feels like safety, right? The thoughts that come up might be keeping us, ungrounded and unstable. There may be like fears that keep us from moving forward like we want to or like we should, right? The 8 of Swords talks about being stuck in many ways. But I feel like this is the energy that's being addressed today, to get unstuck, to become grounded, to become sure as we move forward. Even as we look at, as she look at herself in the mirror, she's blindfolded in the mirror, right? To uncover those things that we have not seen or we may be choosing not to see, right? But it may feel comfortable to be where we are. We may be choosing not to see things, or we may be choosing to stay here. It's time to challenge that. It's time to challenge those old ideas. Again, it could be something that goes back past you. This could be family stuff that's been, attached to you. Circumstances by patterns that you've learned. But it's asking to source those things, find out what it is, where it came from, so that we can clear it. That's why this is coming up right now today, okay? And again, swords represent mental patterns, right? Here in the 8 of Swords, it's representing a preventing of moving, a prevention of the things that you're supposed to be experiencing right now as it pertains to your sacral chakra, the feeling of being safe and grounded and feeling joy, right? Those are things that you're supposed to be feeling right now, but for some reason, you're keeping yourself from them. And when we look at the swords, we're talking about mental power, right? But being stuck. If these swords were available and open for use, like what type of things could be done with them? if they weren't being used to trap self, right? It's asking that question. What type of things could be done with that power if it wasn't stuck right now? And the types of things that the Eight of Swords would bring up is unnecessary drama, right? Procrastination, stagnation, dilemmas about everything, maybe indecisiveness, inner turmoil, self-blame or judgment, criticism, always looking at negative consequences when it doesn't always have to be, right? And so it's all about the mental patterning that needs to be challenged right now. And you have the strength to do that. You always have. You always have the strength. Now, coming in the challenge with doing these things and understanding and coming out of these old ways of thinking and patterns is the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords comes in the energy of the throat chakra, interestingly. And so the Knight of Swords is necessary losses, is what it's talking about. And it's talking about experiencing loss. But the losses are not really, it wasn't a significant loss. It was losses around things that really didn't matter anyway. And this is talking about within the chakras, the manifesting chakras, when things are removed, it actually opens up, doors to up level. It actually opens up space for something better to come in. The question is, does courage exist to make the necessary sacrifices? Right? This may be something long overdue. Does the courage exist to make the necessary sacrifices to let things go so that we can usher in the new or the up-leveling, the level up? And the Knight of Swords is actually kind of like a reminder of what we've been through. Again, we're talking about swords. The Knight of Swords is bringing something. It's a reminder of the experiences that we've had and the fact that they are real. This is not denying or negating the experience or the pain that was felt or that is possibly still being felt. That's not what this is, right? You could have had to defend and protect yourself in many different ways against situations that possibly left you feeling numb, like you don't even want to feel, possibly even not even wanting to be here. Like I'm hearing that as well. But there's no easy way, to transmute those energies around the limitations that we've placed on ourselves or the types of ideas that we've allowed other people to tell us that how we should feel about ourselves or what we can and cannot do or who we're supposed to be and how it's supposed to be, right? These are the things that we're transmuting, these energies, these thoughts, these patterns. And it's almost like we're in a new time, and I understand that many times, especially as it pertains to family, we do the best that we can with what we have. But when we know better, then we can do better, right? That's just what it is. When we know better, we can do better. And so if you are actually find yourself steering in a new direction or you're being led into a new direction, this is the need to discard those old things. All things must become new because you can't proceed forward on a new path with this mutinous type of energy attached to you. Okay. And so it's time to tell yourself that this is not a, choiceless situation. You do have choices. Yes, you do. And you don't have to settle. No, you don't. Okay. No matter what is being said, or how you may be receiving threats of, doing things your own way, there's going to be a struggle, right? Because those energies don't want to let you go and they want you to stay because it's familiar. You play a role in that old mutinous energy, right? And when you separate yourself, it's going to be a battle to do that, but you can do it. And understand that challenging circumstances do not define you. Challenging circumstances do not define you, okay? And then we have the energy of rapid results, okay? That was actually the 5 of Wands that we just talked about, this conflictual energy that will arise because you are now moving towards a new energy. And the old patterns, the old energy that was established probably for a long time is not going to be okay with that, but that's okay because you still have to do what you need to do for you. And it's understanding that. It's understanding that the throat chakra is a very interesting chakra because it's the chakra that allows us to, or I'm sorry, that's the throat chakra. We're talking about, and so it not only is able to speak, right? But it also receives and it interprets information. It's almost like an offshoot of the third eye. Just like we're able to see underneath the surface with the third eye, the throat chakra is able to internalize information and actually dissect it and understand the meaning behind what's being said, right? And so it's a all of them are multi-sensory, but it's a very highly functional chakra. It's doing many things, right? And so it's coming in through the 5 of Wands, this level of conflict. That's the challenge. I feel like there's possibly the challenge around you doing what you feel like you're being called to do or where you're led versus what's expected or what has been or the tradition of what has been, right? There's that conflict there. Possibly even a little bit of people-pleasing energy, maybe, doesn't have to be, but there's almost a sense of being stuck in the way that things has been and now being called out of that. And so there's this tug of war that's happening with you, right? But when it's all said and done, we end up in this energy of just moving, just doing it, right? When you feel like you're being called to change something, don't guess it or, have to double back and make sure it's right. Just move on it. The Knights are fast moving energy and they just move. And the Knights bring in the Knight of Swords particular brings in rapid results because of this energy of quick movement, not waiting, rushing in, not really being led by emotions either. This is more just understanding of what needs to be done. After finding the answer, it's moving in to do it. It's all about intuition, okay? And as a 5th chakra, this is really a time for communicating about the past, right? About the past and its actions necessary right now. And things may or may not happen the way that you desire. That's okay. But at least they'll be done. At least they'll be complete. and at least you'll move forward in what it is that Spirit has for you. Wherever that is, everything you need will be. Okay? Again, not worrying about what's being left behind. Okay? Releasing that, because something new is coming in for you. And the new is going to be a level up. It's going to possibly be something more than you ever even realized. Okay, now looking at I feel like Spirit is asking you with the Knight of Swords, now may be a good time to understand where you are right now. And it may be helpful to just take a look back, maybe even 90 days back. And look at like what type of things were happening like 3 months ago. And then look back at like 3 years ago. Okay. And then look back like maybe 10 years ago. And, just keep going further, even going back into generations before you, maybe 3 or 4 generations back, just to kind of get an idea of where you've come from, of this journey that you've been on. Because this is all about discernment. This is all about intelligence, using your mind and your vision, assertiveness, understanding the need to move and change right now, right? Quick thinking too. This is also your ability to call upon the help that you have. For some of you, the Knights talk about angelic energy. Some of you, there's assistance that you have available, and all you have to do is ask. Calling upon your angels could also help you to understand where you need to move next. And I think the Knight of Swords is Archangel, I want to say Gabriel. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it alludes to one of the angels that is at your beck and call. And when you need direction, reaching out in that way, okay? So that's what I have for you. Very beautiful energy. Very beautiful energy that's happening within us right now, attaching to our sacral chakra. Being rooted. I feel like there's an outpour of creativity that's coming forth right now as we're changing directions. Most definitely. And this is a time to be creative, to be open, to allow that energy to flow through us as we are amazed at what comes out, okay? But in order to do that, we do need to be grounded. We need to be open. We need to be healing and understanding who we are and where we've come from, right? Because there's a lot of change that's happening right now. And there's going to be a lot of conflict around that change. There's no way around it, right? When we look at the great movements that's happened in our society through history, there's been great up levels of conflict that has happened around those changes. Nevertheless, they were changes that needed to take place during that time. It's almost like something like that, but it's on a personal level, okay? There's going to be a lot of upheaval around this, but that's okay, okay? But we're in a moment of rapid movement, okay? And so that's what I have for you. That's what Spirit is saying today. Take that as it resonates. Let me know if it does and how it resonates. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you feel led to do so and you have not yet. Thank you for stopping by. It has been LettiSpeaks, bringing in healing. This is definitely healing energy today around our sacral chakra. However that resonates. This is taking us to a higher level of functionality and creativity, recognizing what lies within, okay? Thank you. Until next time, it has been Blood Moon Oracle, and have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Bye.